Welcome to NEXTGEN Warriors. This is a program for young people. It's a program that is geared towards ensuring that the young people can manifest their influence at their various mountains. This program is brought to you courtesy of Elevate TV, and I am your host of the day, Collins Otaz. So there's this question that normally comes up about careers. When you're growing up, when you were just being born and you just joined school and people are asking you, what do you want to become when you grow up? The teachers have their own ideas, the parents have their own ideas, and even you as a young person, even at that tender age, you had your own idea. So basically, what is a career path? How does it come about? Because with all these questions, there's a lot of confusion, and you end up not knowing what exactly you want to become when you grow up. So ladies and gentlemen, today with me in studio, I have Pastor Basil Mwakulomba, who is going to take us through this issue of career path. How do we define our career path? How do we become who we want to be in life? So Pastor, I know maybe you're talking about career path, but there are people outside there who are not even sure what is a career in the first place. So just as a way of introduction, and even before you get into the topic, maybe you want to tell the viewers something about you. Who is Basil? Where are you from? You know, people are wondering, you've just brought this man on set and you are into the questions and we don't even know who he is. Pastor, please.
Well, thank you. My name is Basil Mwakulomba Mwabuganga. I am a married man and blessed with 2 boys. Yeah, my career, in terms of career, I'm trained as an accountant, trained as a manager. So that is a whole list of stuff that I've been able to do in terms of building myself in my career. Basically, I serve in the humanitarian world. That's where I'm giving out my gifts and my profession too, and helping the needy and the less fortunate to be able to rise to their level of influence that God has set out for them. So that's a bit about me. I have much to talk about me. Coming to the topic of today,
yes.
You began quite well saying there's an interesting question that every person is asked. What do you want to be in the future? And that question seems never to be answered. That every year you get into, people ask you the same question, and you discover that at times our answers keep changing. And that is a critical reality of our lives, and many young people are struggling with finding themselves and determining what they want to be in the future. So let's begin by saying what career is. Career is where you can practice the giftings that you have to be able to earn out of it. So a place where you can practice your giftings, practice your strengths, practice your wisdom, release the grace inside of you to be able to be utilized by the world. Okay. When that happens, and then you begin earning thereof, then you're on the path of your career. And I want to say this, a career is a path. It's not a destination. It's a journey that you take in discovering yourself as you rise at the different levels of the career path that you may be in.
Awesome. So basically, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are taking you through this path. We are going to walk you this path up to where, in fact, there's no destination. I was almost telling them, I'm going to walk you to the destination. So it is a path that is ongoing. So as we began, you realized that when I was giving the introduction bit, there's the confusion that normally sets in with the teacher, the parent, there's a mentor here, there's somebody here. So with this confusion, I mean, there are some limitations that come about. Yeah. So what is the connection between the limitations and the confusions? Like the confusions lead to some limitations. So how do they affect someone?
The reason why our answers keep changing to the question, what do you want to be in the future? It's because of the introduction of probably new information that contradicts the previous information. And I want to say that in the terms of deciding which career you want to take, many people find themselves struggling because, number one, of misconception about careers. So they are told various things about different careers, which could be wrong. Secondly, it could be limited understanding of the people of your world. For example, there are many new careers or many new career options that people have in terms of professionalism. So depending on the world you are in, if your teacher does not know some things exist, his revelation to you will limit what you can be able to dream of. Your parents may be having a limited scope about some stuff. So because of what they don't know, and they're the people who are guiding you, your worldview will be limited by that. And as you grow, probably you begin having understanding of greater things. I talked to a friend of mine who is now studying another element of medicine, some bit of neuroscience, something of that sort, repairing neurons in the brain. Now, that's a new field altogether. In fact, I think they're the second class doing it. this is a new field. Now, if somebody is to take that path towards that direction, it will become a bit confusing to a teacher of today who has no idea about it. So their ability to be able to keep discovering becomes either a limitation or a plus for you. Now, depending on your exposure of information, exposure of the content that you have, your ability to understand your career becomes possible or becomes limited. So, secondly,
allow me to interject at this point.
Yes.
So what we are getting at, even with the viewers who are watching right now, is that there's a possibility of having a limited scope and having a narrowed worldview in regards to our career.
Yes.
So we need to expand our networks, so to speak, so that we get more information on these careers, right?
Oh, yes.
So then the question then comes, how do I expand my scope? How do I expand my network? What are some of the things that will get me to know more about this career?
And tuning into a program like this is one of the options that you have.
Definitely. NEXTGEN Warriors can never fail you.
Yes. When we get more exposed, and it's allowing yourself to experience different people. For many Christians, they come in church and they lack the opportunity of connecting with people. Through connections, you're able to know what different people do. For example, in a church, it's an array of career options that exist. And when you begin talking to people and get to ask them, what are you doing? What is your day like? You begin expanding your scope. 2, TV helps us to begin understanding how the world is. For example, when you watch TV, you can see the space. I have a small boy who loves the space. Now, my dilemma is, if he is passionate about space, where will he be able to grow in that dimension? But what I'm doing right now is giving him enough information about space stuff, so that as he grows on, right now he's telling me, Dad, can we go to Japan or Russia? Because
the boy must be very
he's 5 years old, but because he has seen the spacecraft and everything, his worldview of what he wants to do is increasing. So when we watch TV, when we watch some of this stuff, they can help us when you're watching with an intention to grow ourselves. Then we can pick a lot of substance. Other aspect is reading books. The more you read, the more you know. Our world is limited by what we have read. So if you haven't read much about careers, I'll recommend begin searching about careers to know what career options exist in the market.
Do you have any books you want to recommend? Or that
with the current world, I'll say just Google career options and you'll be able to find multiple careers.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. But I want you to go deeper into something. There's the aspect of networking that you touched on church.
Yes.
But you know, we are ministering to even those who are not in church. So what happens to me who is not coming to church every day, every Sunday? So how do I go about it? Because yes, in church I'll find an array of people. But in the outside world, in the marketplace, how do I go about it? Do I need mentors? Do I need maybe to attend seminars? So what are some of the things that I can do outside church and outside maybe watching television and reading books?
I've been encouraged and challenged by various motivational speakers who challenge you to go out of your way to grow. Now, if you sit in your comfortable space, you can't be able to grow because you'll be limited by what you just know. Now, going out for seminars becomes a great advantage. At times, I've been doing youth talks in schools, and not every student participates. This ain't a Christian or a church thing, but it's a universal thing. But you find people are limiting themselves by not availing their bodies in a place where information is provided. So as a young person, you should be alert to see, where could I get this information? Some of the county governments are promoting mentors to go to schools to be able to engage with the young people. If you don't reach out to these people, you will be blocked out. Another thing I will say, when you see people whom you admire, reach out to them.
Reach out.
Many people want to help, but they don't know who they should help. So probably once you stretch out your hand and say, by the way, I really like the way you dress. What do you do with yourself? By just that action, you may discover you could have provoked a reaction which can transform your career life in a great way. Because that person whom you know may discover things about you and then even connect you further to the place of interest.
Awesome.
In my workplace, I've invited young people from needy homes just to come to the office, visit various departments to see what happens. And one of the guys, the young boy, said this statement: I came in this place with a dream, but I'm living with multiple dreams, because his worldview suddenly shifted from the few things he knew to multiple options, from engineering, accounting, management, driving, great array of available opportunities which were existing in their community, but they're not got an opportunity to link up. So I would suggest that sometimes you can just take a step out, and that can change your world.
So ladies and gentlemen, what our able panelist is saying is that you need to reach out, step out, don't sit back and wait. Things do not happen while people are seated. Step out, reach out, then you experience. Even as we proceed, I want you to touch on, remember we were just talking about the confusion that comes and the limitations that are linked to the confusions, and I think we've just touched on one. So there's also the aspect of biases, especially on the side of the parents. Because you see the parent is saying, you must be a Dr. Basil, and you are like, I want to be a musician. And now there's this bias, there's like, musicians, you know, those are just jokers, you know, doctors, they have money. So there's this bias. So how do you deal with bias? Because it's part of the confusion at the earliest stage.
We have an environment whereby we have got elders who have an opinion over everything we do. And that's a reality of the context we are in. Things are changing slowly by slowly with parents getting more informed. But this is something you need to define. Once you have defined who you are, it becomes critical. Because parents, teachers can begin telling you what they think you can become, which is not wrong for them to do that. It is additional information for your use, but not for your conclusion.
Did you just say it's not wrong?
It is not wrong. You see, I may desire good for you, and I'll give you information concerning what I know. Now that is information that you need to have, that you can use to build yourself, or to know that that's not what you are called to. And then negotiating with, if your parents are a person of influence who is paying for your school fees, there may be need to find negotiation. For example, you want to do music. Your parent is saying, go do medicine. And probably you have got the ability to do medicine and music together. And there are many musicians, there are some musicians who are doctors.
I know of some.
Yes. So the reality that somebody could be leading to a certain direction, there may be a truth and there may be a fallacy. The fallacy comes in that I as a parent wanted to become a doctor. Since I did not make it, I want my children to be able to become that.
You see, they need to step into my shoes as a parent.
Yes, to cover the gap of your failure.
Is that wrong? For my son to step into my shoes where I failed?
Now, there is a difference if the son has ability.
Okay.
Now, the mistake comes in when their biases are not cognizant of your abilities.
Yeah.
So you're putting pressure on a donkey to produce milk. Now, you can't have milk from a donkey. There may be some milk, but it may not be consumable to make tea.
Yeah.
So when you understand that this is a child of this dimension, parents need to appreciate that. And even as a person, you need to appreciate that, my parent could be forcing me to an area that I'm not good at, and begin negotiating and demonstrating that this is what I'm good at. This is what I feel I am wired to. So these biases are wrong because they can limit a child's thinking if they just flow by the virtue of what they are told, you can become this, and they work on that only without appreciating what they have inside of them.
Awesome. So that is quite that's quite extensive explanation there. And, you know, I was just thinking as you're speaking, I was just thinking like apart from the biases, there are also careers which are misrepresented, and I know the two tie together. But there's a difference between a bias, because a parent has a liking towards something, and a misrepresentation is more of information. So for a young man or a young lady who is watching us right now, how do we deal with misrepresentation of careers? Like, you know, when I was growing up, I'll speak for myself on this one. I was told, well, if you want to succeed in Kenya, you must be a lawyer. Lawyers have good cars, lawyers have good money. And you know, I'm out here, I'm doing other things. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not complaining about the money I'm earning. So there's this misrepresentation. Also when like somebody like you, when you go to the high schools and you talk about careers, there, I don't know, let me, for lack of a better word, we have the A careers, the B careers, the C careers. So there's a lot of misrepresentation. So as a young man who is in college, who is in high school, who is gearing to become something in future, how do you deal with misrepresentation? Forget about the bias now. Now we have the information, but it is not correct. How do you deal with it?
I remember when growing up, when I would be asked, what do you want to become? My answer was a pilot. Because it was over-represented as the best career for anyone to take up. And that was a limitation to me. Actually, I refused to go to the high school I was called in because I wanted to go to a high school which was known to be having aeronautics classes. So my life came to a stance. It was a big dilemma at home. That my parents tried to take me to a high school, a professional high school, and I said no, I want to become a pilot. For me to become a pilot, I must go to this national school. And it was a big stress. Today I look back, it was because that career was misrepresented as the only career probably that could make me successful. Now that is an important reality that every young person should be able to appreciate. Sometimes you may be having a dream based on the available information at that point. Now that, and the misrepresentation comes in when you are said, it is said this career is bad, this one is good. I want to put this statement clearly. There is no good or bad career.
So there is no good or bad career. You just heard it from NEXTGEN Warriors.
Because there are guys who have done law who are struggling. There are guys who have done medicine who are struggling. There is a neighbor who he's a pilot. He was fired because of issues about himself. So it does not matter what career you are in. What matters is who you are in that career.
So I know this may not be related to this topic, but now that you brought it up,
yes,
what sets you apart at the career world? What sets you apart? Said that you've said that you have a pilot who is at home.
Yes.
And there's a mkokoteni pusher who is on the street making money.
Yes.
So what sets you apart in your career?
Critical question. It has got many dimensions. But I want to say this. I had a speaker say, down here, it is crowded. Up there, there is space.
But you'll be lonely there?
It is lonely, but you have got space. You can land back.
Okay.
You can connect. People can desire to come to where you are. And people love being where there are many people. Now, if we are to make an impact and grow in our career, we must be tired of being with the masses and choose to rise above, whereby there is too much space. Somebody asked, have you ever seen a flight or other planes colliding?
Because there are few of them up there.
There are few of them up there. So if you want to enjoy your career, you must strive getting there. And these are the principles I will put about getting to that place. Number one, once you have known what you're good at, then build on what you're good at. Make yourself exceptional on that specific thing. And when people ask, who is Otas? What can Otas do? They can quickly say, Otas can sort us out on this matter. Now that positions you well. And that calls for a lot of discipline, of continually developing yourself, of being patient with yourself while you are stretching yourself. Now, in career path, if you are not growing, then you are rotting. They say stagnant waters stink.
Come again, if you're not growing?
Then you are rotting.
Then you are rotting.
Yes.
You either grow or you rot.
Either grow or rot. In fact, rivers don't stink. It is only stagnant waters that stink. So anybody who is so
profound, that is very deep.
As long as you keep growing and keep going, you'll find that you are having a freshness that is not available with many people. And that makes you now to begin growing in your career. And the aspect of mentors still come in. People who can challenge you, you can go beyond this, you can do this, who keep stretching your abilities to the level that you can be stretched. And they keep opening spaces for you because of the value that you're carrying inside of you. So many guys lack the character and the stamina that I want to grow in this area. People complain, oh, there is a lot of favoritism. Some people are being promoted, we're not being promoted. But I want to say this, if you're not putting into yourself, then nobody will value you. If you haven't valued yourself enough to grow in the craft you're involved in, nobody can value you.
But Pastor, you see, I'm a young man. I come from Kayole. Mimi hata hizi vitu za mentorship mi usikia tu kwa TV, sahi nimesikia tu kwa Elevate sahi. So how do I grow? You know, those are some of the challenges young people face out here. I come from Kibra. I've been brought up. I've gone to Olympic Primary. I've gone to Olympic Secondary. The best college I've gone to is a college at the Kibra level. So then now you come to me and you tell me you have failed, but it is about the resources that are aligned to me. So how do you come up and blame me for not growing? You see, I really want to succeed in my career, but the resources are limited. So what happens? Like, how do I make sure that the limited resources I have are able to allow me propel into the career that I want to use?
Let me tell you this. There are many people from Kibra who have made it. And The moment as a young person you begin finding reasons as to why you are failing, which number one is blaming the system and the people, that is the beginning of your downfall. Anyone who has reasons why they have failed us, because I didn't have resources, because I didn't have this, have curtailed their growth. But people who desire to grow and say irrespective of this, there are guys who schooled with a candle. They did not say that when they would have said we don't have electricity in our home, they chose to burn a candle to be able to read. I have a friend of mine who is an associate director with one of the audit firms, the big 5 audit firms. He was out of school from Form 2 because his parent died, his father died, and he had no fees to go to school. So for 2 years, he was borrowing notebooks from the guys who are going to school. At night, he will write notes using a candle.
Okay.
Yes, take notes. In the morning, give out the books. This boy had reasons why he should fail. But we met in campus. He was different. He had grown from the worst of situations, but he refused the situations to define him. He chose to define his new future. Now, when it talks about career, it's the issue of how passionate are you about where you want to go. If you keep looking at where you are and not seeing where you want to go, then you are bound to go down.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, there is no excuse. Don't have any excuse for your failure. If you fail, you've just decided to fail. But there's no excuse for failure. So I want us to take this to the next level. I know in the midst of the discussion, you talked about there are no better careers, there are no good careers. There's no bad or good career. All the careers are like similar. But in reality, let's face it, in reality, I think we have better, good, better, best careers, for lack of a better word. Because now, for instance, you can't compare what somebody in the Jokali sector earns with what a CEO somewhere is earning. So the question that I want you to maybe dwell on is there's this comparison. How do we balance the place of comparison between two careers? Like, I don't have to go this way, I can go this way and still be comfortable. I can meet my peer who is a bank manager and I am just a driver and I am comfortable. Because young people, like right now with the advent of social media, what we post is actually not who we are. So how do I meet the balance so that I'm just comfortable being this online marketer? Even when I meet you who is maybe the finance manager, we can still have normal stories. How do I come to that place of balance as a young person?
You've put it right. There's a need for balance. And the question is, who defines which is a better career? Who defines that? Now, we have many people who have had the misconception of saying this is better because we grew up being told to become a doctor is the best thing. Yes, it is a good thing to be a doctor. And remember, even in the medicine world, basically those who have studied medicine, they're not all doing the same thing, not all at the same level. They have distinguished themselves differently. Now, if I am an online marketer, am I the best in what I'm doing? If I am working in the bank, not everyone in the bank is a bank manager.
They're even cleaners in banks.
They're even cleaners in banks. So the issue here is, what are you doing with what you have? There are teachers, and there are teachers who are different. There are drivers, and there are drivers who are different. In a place I worked in, the people who had done the highest investment, so-called financially, were drivers. Higher than some of the directors. Because of how they were operating and understanding their parts, that I am driving for work. It's a part of the job I'm doing. But I have got other things I could be able to do. So driving is a temporal thing that I'm doing. And when you begin defining career only limited to employment and work, it is limiting. Because career is quite vast. It is the application of your gifts to earn a living. For people to pay for your gifts. Now, I could be a driver, but that is one gift I'm having. But I'm applying other gifts that make me become a different type of a driver. The driving gives me exposure. I travel the world, the different parts of the country, to be able to multiply another aspect of my gifting. And you find the driver level of intelligence is different because his career is not tied to the job he's doing, but is tied to the gifts that he has that he's putting into application. Wow. So now the aspect of comparison, we must refrain. We must choose to refrain and know that our paths are different.
But of course we must refrain. And for us here, we might be able to refrain, but the society has expectations. And they're saying that daktari wacha kae kiti ya mbele, wewe ambaye wewe ni nini kaa hapa nyuma, tuonane nyuma ya tent. Tuna deal aje na hiyo surely faster.
You can't
but
change.
How do you refrain?
You
Because
can't change.
I know it's a hard question. I know it's a hard question, and you may not have a conclusive answer. But then this young person is really struggling. You know, they have gone to school and the jobs are not coming and all that. So maybe if you just advise them on some of the things that they can do to refrain, like how do they become comfortable with themselves in this career that they are taking, so that it doesn't become like a bother to them, because some people even end up in suicide.
You see, the issue is we are in a hurry to get to our next level. When I see you ahead of me, probably you left earlier than me, or you had other support systems that lifted you to that level. So when I'm building my own, I should focus on my job. I should focus on what I can do to be able to get there. Now, the comparison bit comes that we feel we should be there earlier. We feel we are entitled to be there earlier, but we want to avoid the process of making. You see, if you choose to go ahead of yourself, then you find the pressure. And as an individual, I have made a decision. As much as there is pressure to be or to get there, I will remind myself it's only a matter of time. One young man told another elderly, proud man, that the only advantage you have a car and all these things because you saw the sun earlier than us. But we are coming there. Because the old man was frustrating the preaching of the gospel in a certain place. He had parked his vehicle in the crusade ground, and he was just being arrogant. The man told him, you are where you are because you were born earlier than us.
Hold that thought there. Ladies and gentlemen, right after the break, we continue the conversation on how the old man might have seen the sun earlier. But even us as young people and as next-gen warriors, we are coming there.